Hello and welcome to the Walk in Love podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we're going to talk about losing 30% of our income. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us a part of your week. The Walk in Love podcast is a place where we laugh and sometimes cry as we try to find language to live a full life.
And if you like your listening to line up with your living, you're in the right place.
You're in the right place. And we're sort of back on video. I'm not going to make a big deal of it because it might come and go depending on the status of the day. But someone watched on YouTube last week and said, I never realized that you guys snap live. I thought it was a recording.
Oh, no, we always snap live.
Yeah, so that's a cool little fun fact if you didn't know. Yeah, we've had a very interesting week, but before we get into it, I'm going to tell you that the collections might still be up. Like if you're an early listener and you still haven't purchased a shirt from the May collection.
If you're a super early East Coast listener, we are still sleeping.
We're still sleeping, so you still have time if you haven't grabbed a shirt yet. Code enough for today, I think, is still live, so you can use that. But I will shut it down as soon as I wake up.
Yeah. Future
TJ is going to rise from his bed. He might go to the gym first, depending on like how much time he has. So you might even have a little bit extra time anyways. We're going to kick things off with Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
And today, first of all, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Today's Mother's Day. I didn't get you a gift. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
You might have gotten a little hint of why that could be for the from the topic du jour. But I made you a video.
Soup du jour. That sounds lovely.
Yeah. What does soup du jour mean? That means soup of the day. That sounds lovely. Made you a video though.
Yes.
Girls made you cards. We had a nice Sabbath.
Yeah.
So we did all we could. I did all I could. But
not very many people know those references.
Yeah.
That's such an old stand-up. I did all I could as the elevator door shut.
We're going to do Mount Rushmore of...
In honor of Mother's Day.
Of TV moms.
Okay.
And these are just the ones that we pick. These aren't like the most iconic.
They're not the goats. They're just our personal goats.
Our personal goats of moms on TV. Okay. And we definitely leaned towards the lighter side.
Yeah.
So I can't remember who... I think I got first pick last week. So I think it's your turn to go first.
It's me? I'm supposed to go first?
So Mount Rushmore of moms on TV.
Okay, I'm going to do...
We have our list typed out already. We already did. This is the second take. No, not this.
No, it's not.
We already just confirmed who we were picking.
We already confirmed who we were taking, so we wouldn't take up time confirming who we were taking. My first pick...
And this is a solid choice. Like I was...
Yeah, is Jill Taylor from Home Improvement.
You just won. I'm pretty sure you just won.
She's just great. And when I think about shows that I watched as a kid, that was one of them.
Yeah.
I don't remember much specifically. Right. I just know that I watched it a lot. And
iconic.
It's iconic.
And I'm going to piggyback off that iconic and maybe pick the most iconic mom of all time.
Okay.
On TV.
The longest running mom of all time.
Because it is the longest running mom of all time. Still running to this day.
Yes.
Marge Simpson. I mean.
Yeah. I don't really want her to be my mom.
Well, actually, she's not a bad mom. She's got a terrible husband and maybe that's sort of a rebellious kid who just needs to come to the Lord. Maybe. Here's an idea for you. Hey, Sharks. I'm going to take The Simpsons. We're going to buy it. We're going to own that property.
Okay.
But then I'm going to...
Can't cost much.
Yeah. Just one of you has enough. All right. I'm looking at you, Cuban. And we're going to write a Simpsons 2 where Bart comes to the Lord.
Love it.
And becomes like maybe a Y-whammer.
Simpsons. It's like Simpsons. Boosh, saved. Yeah.
What do you think, Sharks?
Yeah. I think they would take that deal.
What a miraculous transformation would take place.
Yeah.
Rebellious kid. Then you see the whole family come to the Lord. Am I crying? I think I might be crying, Sharks. Are you crying? Do you feel the energy? So,
how much stake in the business are you willing to give
I'm willing to give 100%.
Oh, you just want to make it happen.
I just want to evangelize.
Yeah. Oh, smart. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good pick. My second pick is Claire Dunphy from Modern Family.
Oh, solid choice.
One, I think she's great. She's
we,
funny, but I also
we've only probably watched
we're not even all the way through that full series, but I love her as a solo character, but then I love her dynamic with Phil.
Yeah.
it just gets me.
There's a franticness to it that is very relatable.
It's just, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. And he's funny and they're funny together. I just like all of it.
She's like,
again, I don't really want her to be my mom.
Right.
And nor do I necessarily want a parent exactly like her.
At all.
At all. But
she's like your stereotypical like frantic mom in the modern age.
Right.
In a funny way. Like
it's like a vibe of Monica, you know, from Friends. Yep. Like I get that same like kind of type A.
Yeah.
Like a little tightly wound.
Yeah.
But Phil is funny too.
Yeah. So that's a solid pick.
That's
my second choice, which would actually be my first choice. You know, I went with Marge because she's so iconic.
Okay.
But my second choice is probably my favorite mom on my list. Never, ever, ever would I ever want her to be my mom.
Yeah.
But she's probably the funniest in terms of like, I can actually think of scenes with her that I laugh at.
They're so funny.
Lucille Bluth from Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Which again, like that's not everybody's vibe. That's not everybody's show.
Yeah.
But seasons 1, honestly, episode 1 and 2, I whenever I go back to watch it, I'm like, most of my quotes come from
like
these
the first
2 episodes.
2-3
like
episodes,
they fit so much goodness into those first couple episodes. Yeah. But Lucille is just a terrible human being.
Right.
In the funniest way possible. And so hands
which
down.
Sort of piggybacks to mine. I feel like my third choice is similar. She's not quite as awful at all as Lucille, but Moira Rose.
Yeah, they got a similar vibe.
From Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
She is just, and the way she talks and how everyone can like mimic it now because it's so iconic the way she played that character.
Similar vibe. Like both of those moms are like upper wealthy class, like actually outsourced motherhood.
Correct.
To
100%. We do not align on anything. Like never in a million years. But will I watch you on TV as a fake character and laugh?
100%.
100%.
Okay. My third pick is again a terrible mom.
Is Marge going to come out on top?
I think Marge is the mom that
no, maybe your fourth one.
Yeah. Is Meredith Palmer from The Office. She's a bad mom. But there's a couple lines that really get me around her motherhood. That's like at one point she says, I had my second kid for the time off. And then one when they're talking about maybe we should set up a scholarship for Meredith's son. And Michael goes, you see that kid? He's not going to college. So Meredith Palmer, pick 3.
Yeah, it's a good pick. It's a good pick. My fourth one, I'm a little torn. So I'm gonna risk throwing out both, and you might switch your fourth pick. I don't know.
I'm locked in.
You are. Okay. So I picked Aunt Becky from Full House.
Okay.
She is a mom.
Aunt is kind of what she's known for, though.
Correct. Which is where I'm like, yeah. But then I was like, well, the mom from Boy Meets World. But I didn't know her name. So then I'm like, but I know Aunt Becky's name.
Right.
And so which one's more iconic that I can actually name the mom's character? Or
which one made illegal bribes to get her kid into college?
Aunt Becky.
Aunt Becky.
Yeah.
Solid.
Rebecca.
Solid.
Done.
Do you know that there's an actual episode where they do that?
Yeah.
To get the twins into a preschool. And then
she ends up doing that in real life. Maybe that's where she got the idea. So I'm torn between Amy Matthews, who would be the Boy Meets World mom.
Yeah.
And Aunt Becky.
I think you may have won it with your first pick. So I think there's a throwaway.
Yeah.
It's up to you, babe.
I might go Boy Meets World.
Okay. Wow.
But see, it's like, that's what's weird. If you said, again, maybe this is just me. If I saw this list, I'd go, who's Amy Matthews?
And then you're like, oh,
Boy Meets World. And I'm like, oh, well, duh.
Yeah,
yes.
Duh. Yeah, you're a great mom. Great kid.
But I can't remember Aunt Becky's last name.
She definitely got an assist from, what's the teacher's name? Mr. Phoebe?
Mr. Feeney.
Feeney, yeah.
Feeney, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely helped raise that boy.
Oh, for sure.
Mentor.
Yeah.
Gosh.
All of our mentors.
Men need mentors.
Growing up.
Okay, my last pick.
It's a solid one.
Solid choice. Iconic laugh. Kitty Foreman from That 70s Show.
Yeah.
So put those up on the Facebook page. You can vote.
Those are good.
Favorite moms of TV. I think we're tied now. I think I won last week.
Okay.
So I think it's 3-3.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are just voting for whoever's losing, but
that would be weird because then we will only ever be one ahead every time.
No, I feel a two ahead coming soon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Confidence.
Manifest it. Speak it.
Yeah. Manifest it. Yeah.
Claim it.
Gen Z loves manifesting. I saw this reel or TikTok or something of this guy who like is manifesting his. This is the kind of stuff I wish I could get you to react to on the internet because of the faces that I know you would make. So he's like, here's how I'm manifesting my perfect spouse.
Oh, yikes.
And he has like a terrarium set up with crystals with pictures of girls that.
Nope.
It is.
Nope.
I think if everyone is into it, I think if we just like push Brooke hard enough, we can get a Brooke Reacts Instagram series, TikTok series, YouTube, because like it's just, like you.
I don't even try to have a reaction, but I do. I'm sorry.
You have zero patience.
You started that sentence with "there's a terrarium," and I was like, I'm out.
Oh, I was out too. I was like,
no, I know.
This guy's a lunatic.
What the heck does a terrarium full of crystals have to do with your future wife?
That's what a lot of Gen Zers believe in, this like manifestation, spiritual new age bullcrap.
Right.
And so, but like, it's like,
wow.
What? This is what I think of is like, what woman is seeing that video?
Yes.
And being like,
she shows up and she's like, it me.
This is the guy. Here I am.
Yeah.
I can feel your crystal pull on me.
Was it in a terrarium? I can tell. Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah.
He goes to the store to buy the empty tank. Oh, are you getting some fish or like some like lizards or newts? Nope. Looking for a wife. They're just like beep as they keep scanning things.
So,
beep,
sorry,
just
like
silence in between them the rest of the time.
What was that? Is it a gift for like your girlfriend?
Sorry, is it for your niece? I'm sorry, maybe I misheard you.
No, I'm heading to the crystal shop next. So yeah.
Look out. You single?
You're gonna feel the pull.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just like sometimes I show you stuff. Well, here's what I was gonna say. I just had a Brooke reaction live downstairs. I asked the girls, we were eating lunch. I asked the girls, what's one thing you want to do with mom at some point in your life? Yeah. And they're like, I was like, I want to go to Europe with mom at some point in your life. They're like, how long are you going to go for?
Who's going to watch us? And I was like, okay, this is spiraling into, this is not happening right now. We need to reel it back in. And then it only kept getting.
Yeah. So then I was
the spirals kept getting faster. The merry-go-round was getting faster and faster as we were on it answering this question.
It's like trying to do a sweet thing at lunch.
Yeah.
Derailed so quickly. So I was like, oh, I'd also like to really go to the Grand Canyon with mom sometime.
Yeah.
And then June's like, do people ever fall in?
No, she goes, I heard people fall in and die. And I was like, again, this merry-go-round is only going faster. I said what I thought was a very normal comment. I said, people die falling off of all sorts of things if they're dumb enough. No, I said people fall off of things all the time and die if they're doing dumb stuff. That's what I said. And I thought it was a normal comment.
It's such a Brooke comment.
I don't know why it's such a Brooke comment.
Because he goes from like 0 patience to like to 10. You're maxed out.
Yeah. The merry-go-round is so fast. I am jumping off.
You're already thinking about how dumb this person has to be, and you're so pissed at them.
Yeah, I am. I hate when people do dumb stuff. I can't handle it my whole life. I'm like, that's dumb. I'm out. You're out. I'm out.
Oh, so good. Okay.
Well, I didn't like high school because I felt like everybody was dumb.
Too dumb. Yeah.
Not everybody. I love my friends I still talk to from that.
Yeah.
But like
most people
I like literally was on the struggle bus about it. I remember coming home and just being like, everyone is so dumb. And I don't mean like academically dumb. I mean like making dumb choices. They're acting like children. And here I am.
You would have loved me in high school.
14. Yeah, those are my strong feelings. If I have to make it an official like segment of the podcast, quite possibly on my Mount Rushmore of strong feelings.
Yeah, 100%.
Would be, I can't stand when people do dumb things.
Yeah.
And there's a wide range. There's a lot of types of dumb in there, but I can still call it dumb.
Yeah. Like you can't stand the idea that someone would put themselves in a position to potentially fall into the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. You deserve it. No, I'm just kidding. They don't. They don't at all. They don't.
Oh man.
Sometimes I break rules. But
yeah. That was that one time.
It was that one time. Yeah.
All right. So we had an interesting week. So I'm not even going to ask you how your week was because we're going to get into it a little bit. I'm going to let Brooke sort of like tell the super truncated story of what happened this week.
Yeah.
Because I nor Brooke nor anyone on the internet knows the full story, even though people are saying they know the full story. But
you mean like the future?
Yeah.
The full yeah. No, nobody knows.
But honestly,
even
like why it sort
it's
of
all
yeah. So on Tuesday,
I don't know. That doesn't make sense because I hosted Bunko on Tuesday. And was it the same day as Bunko?
Tuesday,
because I almost asked Bianca to host, and then I was like, no.
On Tuesday,
maybe people in my home in a sheet pan of Rice Krispies will help me.
We got word that.
Do you want me to tell?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tuesday. Okay, so let me back up though. A couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Mid-April. Let me back up even more. Almost 5 years ago.
Okay.
I joined Beautycounter. I joined in 2019.
Yep.
When a genuine friend of mine was asking me to join Young Living.
Yep.
And I so appreciated her genuine ask. It was authentic. It was real. It was not, who joined my team? And blah, blah, blah. Yep. It was real. She was like, I know y'all are needing something financially. Like, let me talk you through this and how this could work since you do life on the internet. Yep. And I super appreciated it, but it just didn't sit right. I love oils. I have some right over there. I'm not like an oil person like that. And I just didn't feel totally like I'd be myself if that's what I was talking about all the time. Right. Come into the scene, Beautycounter, never heard of it. I was on the lookout for like clean makeup for myself. That was something I hadn't switched for me yet. I had switched a lot of stuff for my family. Baby products, food stuff, bakeware, like all these things, cleaning all the things up, cleaning products. But then I'm still using the same horrible ingredient foundation from whatever. So I tried it, loved it, jumped in, made the switch, started talking about Beautycounter again, genuinely, because it's all over my bathroom and it's basically all we use as a family, because they make clean products, which are wonderful. And I was in it because I loved it, because the products work. Like, they do a really great job and they're clean. And it was an additional avenue of revenue that let me continue to do what we do on the internet. Right. I was not necessarily there for the team building side of a business like that. I have no problem with the team building side. I ended up leaning way more heavy in the direction of, I'm just going to sell it personally and talk about it. And that's great. Yep. So fast forward to now,
2 weeks ago,
a couple weeks ago. Because I joined in like April of 2019. So it really has been almost 5 years, probably to the day. Yeah. And we as advocates get an email that's like, hey, so here's a crazy story. Remember, these are my words. This is my version of the
truncated version of
this is my version of the email that said, hey, remember 2 years ago when we were invested in for $1 billion by that company? Company's called Carlisle. And I'm reading the email and I'm like, yep, I remember that. Yeah. But when that happened 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, a lot of changes at corporate happened. Like, our founder and CEO was asked to leave, and then new people came on staff. Like, there was just a lot of there was new money on the scene, and it was like business stuff. I don't have a big opinion on any of that business stuff, because I'm like, that's y'all's business. Figure it out. Yeah. Cool. I'm going to keep using the lotion that I love. Yeah. And,
not the hand wash.
No, it's different. They do look similar.
Just a pro tip. Hand wash goes on your hands.
Lotion can go on your feet. Yeah, in the middle of the night. And so the email goes on to explain that Beautycounter got word recently, very recently, that Carlisle, after these last few years, hasn't handled us very well and is looking to sell us. And the original founder of the company, her name is Greg, but Greg is a woman. Greg got wind that this was happening. And so she secured private funding to buy back the assets of Beautycounter, bought back the name, bought back the formulas, bought back the thing she started over a decade ago, like literally in her backyard. Yep. Like, there's this tiny little, this picture of her, this little table. There's like 4 products in glass bottles with like handwritten labels. Yeah. And she's talking about like, we need to change this. Yeah. There's stuff hiding in our products and it's giving us all cancer and all these things. Yeah. And so, of course, she went and did everything she could to buy it back. So we get an email that says, hey, we bought it back. We need to legally dissolve the LLC that pays you as a consultant. Yeah. Give us a hot minute to do that. So we're closing the website. so we can like dissolve this one thing, open another. I cannot imagine the back end, like just business running. I just imagine all those people want to just barf all the time because of how they're feeling right now. And so I was like, okay. They said they needed 2.5 weeks.
Right. There was an element though, because of you and I knowing how business works, that we were
correct.
We sort of saw the writing on the wall.
Yes.
We were hopeful, but
all you can do is what you can do with the information you have. And the information we had was, we're closing the website starting tomorrow, which was, I don't know, middle of April. Our plan is to reopen early May, like the 1st of May or early May. Well, I'm like, all right, cool. So I like briefly let customers know, you know, hey, the website's down. It'll be back up.
Yeah.
May 1st rolls around. I get a text from someone who was on a call who was like, hey, it's looking like it's going to be another week. And I was like, okay. You know, okay.
Yeah,
like, again, what am I going to do?
Not our business. Yeah.
You know, and then last Tuesday, we get the information that, again, my version, I'm not changing the version. I'm just like not giving you all the stuff, is that, hey, we're closed until late end of this year, like Q4. And when we do come back, it might look different.
Yeah.
The product's not look different. If and when we come back, you know, there's more and more information coming out. We will be back. I think they're trying to like squelch the Beautycounter's gone forever because everybody's like losing their minds and like freaking out. And they're like, that's not true. We would not have just bought it all back if we didn't have an intention of actually trying to come back. Yeah. But what does that look like from a business standpoint? I think from a customer facing standpoint, I honestly don't know if it'll look all that much different. No. The name's the same. They retained their formulas. They're going to keep making great products.
I mean, they'll take a brand hit being closed for 6 months or whatever, but from
a advocate business facing direction, I truly don't know what to expect. Right. I don't know what it's going to look like. They have not confirmed or denied a whole lot. They're just like, y'all, we're figuring it out. Yeah. And as a business owner, which I do not own a business that was invested in for $1 billion, to have that scale of business, that's the kind of investment you're getting, I can't fathom that. But on the tiny little scale we are on,
means like you usually get like a 10x investment on your sales, right? And so that'd be like $100 million in sales annually, right? If I was just guessing, and $100 million in sales is just an incredible.
That's a lot of sales.
That's a lot of guacamole.
It's a lot of guacamole. And so I get the email, or I think I actually got a text, like a call was happening with some people that I never get on the calls because of time change, and I just don't get on the calls. And someone was like live texting me, telling me, hey, I want you to have a heads up, because she really wanted me to know. And I just remember feeling like, okay, I have to go tell TJ, because I was upstairs working, you were downstairs doing school. And I did not want to go downstairs immediately and tell you, because I knew it would just like throw a bomb into the whole day, and that school would feel hard, and y'all were on a roll, and I didn't want to interrupt. Yep. So I sat up here with it for like a couple hours, knowing, okay, Beautycounter's gone, at least for now, maybe forever, hope not, but at least for now. Yeah. You know, usually there's the friends and family sale in the spring. Yep. So, which is huge for me and my business. So that's gone. And if they're not back in time for like Black Friday and like enough time for customers to kind of wrap their head around what's being offered, maybe Black Friday's gone, which is the largest month of the year for my Beautycounter business. And so in an instant,
in one day,
in one text message of a day, which it's not the text message's fault, is the information coming across it like that, the real live snap. Yep. Live snap, we lost fluctuating between 30 to 40% of our income. Yeah. Just turned off. Done. It's
gone.
Gone. Poof. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. So Brooke told me.
So I cried a lot.
Yep. We had a moment, and honestly, like, I
cried for many, many days.
Yeah. I'm going to then
tried to process,
pick up the story and talk a little bit more.
What?
The next day I had to go up to the girls' homeschool co-op, and there's one day a week where I have to sit in the car while they do school and I work from my laptop. So I went up there, I listened to all of Phil Wickham's.
So then this happened on Monday.
Yeah, so this did happen on Monday.
That makes more sense. It did happen on Monday.
I went up on Tuesday, I'm by myself in a van, and I listened to Phil Wickham's devotional album. He's got a new album, but he's got like a devotional version of it where he tells a little bit about each song, then the song plays. And so
it's cool.
I'm weeping in the van by myself. At my kid's co-op, title of my autobiography. And
weeping in a van alone.
yeah,
Outside a kids co-op.
with Phil Wickham. And I just sit there and I just ask the Lord, like, what, why, what, like, what do you want from me? What do I do?
Yeah.
And so the phrasing, you know, I didn't hear an audible voice of the Lord, but like the inclinings, the sort of vibe that I'm getting is two-part. One is to like be honest. Like that was the first thing. Just like be honest with your situation, with the people that you talk to, with the butt clenchers, with yourself. Like just be honest. And then like the other phrase I keep hearing is double portion. I don't know why. I don't know what that's for. For me, I'm like, I hope it's financial, but I don't know what it's for.
Hope it's not just my acai bowl. Yeah. You want upgraded?
Sweet. There
you
it
want
is.
a 24 ounce
Thank
instead?
You, Lord.
I got you.
This is my testimony. So in that van, I just like asked the Lord, I said, like, what do you want? You know, what do you want me to do? And I just kept feeling this like peace about just like telling the financial journey we've been on the podcast. And so
what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Yeah.
And so let me just start there, and then let me preface this. Like, let me put a big fat disclaimer on this episode. Yes.
Sticker.
I'm not telling this story to garner pity for you to shop from our businesses.
Right.
I do not want that to be the outcome of this. Yeah, we send emails about that, and we have faith.
I'm just kidding.
That was a great joke.
Thanks.
Sign up
double
for our email.
Portion. Double portion of humor.
Double portion. And you actually have to pay double.
Yeah.
It's a multiplier discount.
It's reverse. You're going to pay twice as much.
So let me say that. And I think there can be like a spirit of negativity that's like when people talk about money that like, well, you live in Hawaii. Like, why would you ever need money? Like there can just be like feelings about finances and money. Yeah. And so like, if you have
it's a sweaty topic,
if you have hard feelings for us because we live in an expensive place, sorry. Like what, you know, we
can actually talk about that.
People live in New York City. People live in San Francisco. People live in Moscow. Like those are all expensive places. Like we need the people of God everywhere. Moscow is actually the most expensive city to live in on planet Earth.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just funny because people don't think about it like that.
At least it used to be. I don't know.
Let's go to Moscow.
Yeah. And like the people of God need to be in all places, wealthy communities, poor communities, middle-class communities, everywhere, till the ends of the earth. Anyways, so.
Yes, that is the disclaimer.
That's a disclaimer.
This isn't, hey, we lost our income. Yeah. Hear our story and now go buy something.
I will end the episode with, if there are some, like if you're looking for like, hey, I have, an extra money. I want to help you out in this time of need. Like I have ways to do that, but this is not the point. One of those ways is really random too. It's like a curveball, but
I love it.
A few years ago, we shut down Walk in Love
2018
and decided, hey, we're going to just try to figure out, felt like the Lord was asking us to lay it down. We laid it at his feet. I said, what's next? We spent 6 months sort of like living off of, we sold part of a business that we own. We lived off that money, trying to figure out what's next, only then to pick back Walk in Love up and to do it a new way. Yeah. And we've told that story many times. And
I will make a note to find those episodes.
I think Walk in Love story part 1 and 2.
Story 1 and 2.
Yeah. We'll tell that. Maybe part 3. I don't know. Anyway, so we do that. We had this goal of like, hey, we got to do this amount of sales, or
when we brought it back.
Yeah. Similar to Beautycounter, we said, hey, we have to do 100 million of sales. No, not 1,000% kidding.
No, it wasn't much.
No, it wasn't much. And I was like, if we don't hit that, I'm going to go buy shirts with collars on them, and I'm going to go find a real human's job.
Right.
We hit that in 12 hours. Right. And so we were just like, all right, Lord, like we feel good. And so we just kept doing that, kept figuring that out. We lived in Pennsylvania at the time. And then COVID hit and people started getting free checks from the government and we're home with nothing to do.
Trapped in home with nothing to do.
And our sales absolutely exploded. Yeah. Like that's the only way to describe it. Like absolute, just like what is happening?
Yeah.
To which we thought, wow, we're
talking about Walk in Love.
Yes. This is business as usual.
This is the new way of doing things.
We've made it.
We've unlocked something. Way to go, us.
Oh, young TJ. And so business was really good. We lived in
which a lot of internet businesses felt that
e-commerce
then.
businesses kind of
you couldn't
exploded.
go spend your money anywhere else.
Couldn't
You
go
had
on
to spend it
vacation.
online.
You couldn't. Yeah. And so like,
Yeah.
it really was kind of this like unicorn time to be an e-commerce company.
I mean, even my Beautycounter businesses then, or business then,
and so
we
had some
higher than
we
it's
had
ever
two
been.
really great years, and it was during those 2 years that we say that Brooke felt like the Lord was leading her to Maui.
Yes, which let me disclaimer that it's not a disclaimer. It's just it's a detail. There was literally, and I mean literally, there was never, ever, ever a point in time where I thought or said, hey,
if we make enough money,
we have more money now. Let's move to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Like the finances had absolutely nothing to do with why we moved.
Yeah.
I felt like we were called to move. I felt like I was being called to go. I felt a lot of things. And then I am so grateful. And I've actually like processed through this since then, since living here almost 3 years now. Like it was not like, boom, day one, my feet are on Maui. And I'm like, oh, there's an idea.
Yeah.
Like I was here a long time before I had these moments. I remember crying about something financial, in the last probably year and a half. And I remember asking the Lord, like, why did you give us those COVID years? Like what was that? Like, what was it supposed to be?
Yeah.
And
makes me laugh and sometimes cry.
It's going to make me cry. And like you said, I never hear an audible voice, but when I hear a phrase that is so clear, like it's so specific and clear, that's how I know it's the Holy Spirit. Because if it's just me like bopping around all these things in my head, I'm like thinking 7 things at once.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like it could be this or that, or blah, blah, blah. But when it's just like there is silence everywhere else and there is one clear thing.
Yeah.
Like all I heard was, so you would go.
Mm.
And I remember thinking like, wow, that is so real. Because if I had felt like, which I did so deeply in my bones, like I have never felt anything before in my life. If I felt like we were called to go and we didn't have the finances at the time to do it, that would have been a huge, like, oh, how? Literally how?
Yeah.
How can we pay to ship our car there? Like, how do we do this? And so we had the finances at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm so, so grateful for that.
We also were able to do it because we lived in a 1,000 square foot house.
$700.
1,000 square foot house for 12 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We lived in a tiny home for 12 years.
Yeah.
And we just, were faithful. And so anyways, we moved here. COVID's still sort of happening.
Yeah.
That year was like,
people were back to life
a little bit,
but COVID was still around.
So we still had a good first year when we lived here, but what we started to feel was like,
which was like 2022.
Yeah. Was our cost of goods. So like at the end of the year, we were like, we sold as much as we have, but way less fell to the bottom line. Like everything,
the cost of goods,
just
all the Maui, not Maui. It was like it was like delayed in COVID, right?
Yeah.
Then we had all the shipping issues and then all the like supply chain issues globally. Everybody did all that kind of stuff.
And then we just started to feel like the rise of inflation on the back end of our business. Our literal t-shirts started to cost way more.
Yeah.
They started to cost more to ship them to the printers, for the printers to print them, for the printers to fold them, to put them in bags, to ship. Like everything just started going up. And so we had to raise our prices, which
there's your Mount Rushmore of strong feelings.
I think because I grew up in a non-wealthy home, I know what it's like to not have money to buy the thing. Like I remember longing for my parents to be able to buy me new sneakers that were cool. Yeah. And they couldn't.
Yeah.
And I hold nothing against them for that. But I know what that feeling's like. And so for me to and I wrestle with is it worth it? All this kind of stuff. That's just an internal struggle that I have. I don't like raising prices. It's not something that I want to do. I don't want to make things in this upper echelon of price, but literally what has happened over the last few years because of inflation is we have no choice. It's not because we moved here.
Right.
Correct. If we still lived in
literally nothing to do with living here.
Because our shirts actually never come to Hawaii. They literally stay on the mainland the whole time through the whole process. Yeah. It's literally just the cost is so much greater than it used to be. Yeah. Like 40% more. Yeah. And what's hard and what I talk to friends about is it's hard specifically in t-shirts because like people, and I'm sure you listening to this are one of those people, like you have an idea of what it should cost in your head.
Yeah.
Like
and
for
there's
like
a wide range of what some people think $12.
Yes.
Some
but there
people are like,
there are things though in life, like for the millennials, it's like CDs. Well, CDs should be $10. And then at one point they were 20. You're like, why would I ever pay $20 for a CD? And it's like, and t-shirts should be $20. Like people like have that price or 25 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just not possible anymore. And so anyway, so that happens. So we're going through the last year. So the last COVID year, we still had like a good sales year, less came to the bottom. And then the next year came and it just felt like we fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like, just like, and you know, so we're like, okay, well, we got to diversify. So started doing the courses. Yeah. Moms on Mount, like things have been born out of that.
Really good things.
You know?
Yeah.
That we're really thankful for. But like, you know, we're still just a 2-person team for the most part. We have some contractors that we work with, but it's just me and Brooke hustling, you know? And I think that there's this element of like internet work. Like when you see someone on the internet, you're like, oh, like they're just living a life of luxury and all this kind of stuff. And like, there are definitely parts of our lives that are luxurious. We live in Hawaii. Like, I'm not going to not say that that's not a luxury of life, but like, I don't know if it's as luxurious as you might think played out in your head. Anyways, 2023, fall off a cliff. It's a little bit. And it's just like
dumb people do.
So, you know, but like, we're just trusting the Lord. Like, you know, like we're just going to stay faithful with what you've given us. We're going to adapt, which is one of the skills that I think we have. Well, like that's where Moms on Maui was born. Like there's been some good things that have come out of that. Yeah. And, you know, again, like 2023 doesn't go super great. And so we're like, okay, well, what can we do different in 2024?
Sorry, that was my drink that made that noise.
Let's go to an inventoried model. And we started off super rocky. Yeah. And then we're like, okay, let's do sort of a hybrid model. Yeah. And so like we are coming off of a not great year.
So far. Yeah, it's only May.
2023. Like year that like, and now as we look back, we realize that like the unicorn years were the COVID years. Like those years, they were the anomaly, which when you're in them as a business owner and you see everything going up and to the right, you're like, oh, we've unlocked a new level of what we do. Yeah. This is going to be great. Let's project for the future. And then you start projecting and it was like after those COVID years and people could go on vacation again and do all the stuff like like we were corrected. Like we got that correction in. Yeah. So
many online businesses have echoed that.
And we've you know, I have friends that have felt that and it just is what it is. So we're all adapting and reacting to it and trying to find ways to make it work. And this year's been pretty rocky and we find ourselves just in like this frustrating financial situation, unsure of how to get out of it. Feeling like, and I'm sure a lot of you feel this way right now. Like it is tough.
Or have,
It is tough right now to just pay for things. Like everything is so expensive. Money is tight. Like it's just a crappy time in that regard. And we feel that as well. And so we've had some hard, rough conversations this year about just like, what are we going to do? How are we going to like adapt? How are we going to like diversify and all this stuff? Like, again, this is not, I'm not trying to guilt anyone. I want to disclaim that again. I'm just, the phrasing I got was be honest. Yeah. And so we're having these conversations. We're trying to we're cutting down on our own personal expenses. We're giving ourselves pay cuts. We're doing all the things we need to do to like, just like to make it work. Yeah. You know, like you do in a home budget and a business budget. And then on Monday we get hit with this news. And I don't know, like, I trust the Lord. I trust him with my whole heart, my whole life. Everything that I have is because of him. And so I sometimes wonder, like, why? Like, why did this happen? Again, there's a million reasons, Beautycounter, investment, all this kind of stuff. Kind of,
there's like,
sort of, like there's literal
the actual reasons.
The actual reasons. And then just like, like the joke that
Bianca's line, which is, what's the lesson,
Lord? What's the lesson,
She
Lord?
yells it really loud. Like the literal moment something happens.
Like I'll do that when like I drop, when I like stub my toe, I'll yell it and Brooke will laugh. And I just find myself like really, and again, maybe there isn't some sort of like miraculous lesson that I've got to learn. It's just that like life is hard, but God is good. And I have, after a week, after probably not my best moment as a husband, I have just sort of sat in the idea that like, I'm just going to trust you. I'm just going to believe that you know my heart and that you will allow me to live the life. Like you will give me the talents that you've given me and hopefully I will return those talents to you. Like hopefully I will use those talents to glorify you. And so if that's less now, let it be less. And if it's more later, let it be more. Like, and I'm just going to try to remain faithful and steadfast, which was my word of the year. If you want a sermon right to the gut on whatever you lay before me. And it's not been an easy week at all, because there is definitely a voice in my head that's like, hey, you lost 30% of your income on Monday on a year that's already been V-tight off a year that wasn't the best either. Yeah. Like there's a like very logical side of my brain that's panic. Right. You need to panic. Like you need to like start driving Uber or like there's part of my brain that's like, go and do those things so that you can support your family and all this kind of stuff. And then there's this other part that's like, do you trust me? Do you trust that I will provide? And again, I didn't grow up wealthy. My dad was a missionary most of all of my childhood, and they have story after story of the Lord providing. So like, it's like, I remember the lion and the bear. Like I've seen it personally in my parents' lives, and now I have to see it in my life. But but it's so, when someone says they're going through a rough time and you're like, oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be okay. Like the Lord's got you. Like that's easy to say. Yeah. But then when you're going through it and someone says it to you, you're like, yeah, but how? Yeah. Yeah, but how? And what's crazy is like the how is the Lord. Like, yeah, but how is the Lord?
We have our answer.
Yeah. And I have my answer, but yet there's this sort of tangled mess of frustration and hurt and sadness and scare, like fear. Yeah. And I find myself
like
just like,
half of it's like a real good fear and the other half it's like an unnecessary fear. Yeah.
And so I haven't Googled any bridges to live under. I'm confident that he will provide, and that might look different than how I think it should be, but I know that he will provide. And so the reason as I started sitting in that van and like figuring out like, why do I have to tell this story? Like, this is weird. I know that Brooke doesn't love talking about financial things on the internet. Why do I have to tell this story? Is like, because I think that there are people who are listening that feel the same way, that like are going through the same thing or similar thing. And like, this isn't the first rodeo for us in terms of like, we run a business. How are we going to pay for things? Like we've been here before. And every time we've been here, like, there's taken sacrifice to get out of some financial holes from business. And there's been years of plenty and years of like need, but like the Lord is faithful through all those years. And so like, for those of you who are in it right now, like we're in it, like he is faithful. Do not lose heart. Like stand firm in him and he'll see you through. Like that's the only thing. And I have to actively say that every single day. Like literally when I wake up, I'm just like, it's good. Like, there's enough for today. Kind of like that shirt, that shirt came out, like we have enough for today. Yeah. And, we had, like my mom called me and was like, hey, if you guys need help, we've had people reach out and like, there's been things like that. And so if you're in that same scenario like us, to a varying degree, I mean, like there's like, I don't know. And I don't want to put it on a scale, but like sometimes it's really good and sometimes it's terrible. Like he will see you through, continue to trust in him. And honestly, like the stereotypical saying goes, like I find myself going to him more frequently now when things get hard than I do when things are easy. And it's like, well, why don't I do this all the time? Because I feel peace about where we are. Yeah. I feel peace about where we're going. I feel like he's going to provide. And yet when things are booming, it's not like I'm spending these hours in quiet time or in a van crying and seeking the Lord. Like I'm just like, oh, things are great. Thanks God. Bye. So it has been sort of like, again, another lesson in that like you need to come to me daily. You need daily bread, not just when things are hard bread, not just when months are bad bread. You need daily bread, daily communion with the Lord will give me that perfect peace regardless of the ebb and flow of my financial situation.
Yeah.
And that's the same, the same thing is true for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I had seen, because I'm friends with people in the Beautycounter world and I follow them on Instagram, like everybody's talking about it in that world specifically. Making comments, saying things, saying what they're doing, what their plans are, saying that they're sad, like all of it.
Yeah.
Like I have no opinion on the things that were being said. It's just that lots was being said. And I came across, she's an actual friend. I came across her story and she was just like, it was just like, she had photos behind and she was just like typing over them, like slide after slide after slide. Like, so grateful for Beautycounter, blah, 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 blah. Next slide. Made so many friends, blah, blah, blah. Next slide. Like all this, whatever.
It's a really good impression.
It's great. Yeah, it's great. And as it goes, and I was reading them because I was like in some of the pictures and was paying attention. And I get like maybe 6 or 7 slides in and she was like, but I have to continue to remind myself Beautycounter was never my provider.
Mm-hmm.
And I like screenshotted it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man,
yeah,
isn't that so true?
Yep.
Because you could insert any job you work for, any company you work for, anything you do. Like Walk in Love is not
literally like I am not my provider. Like me as an individual am not my provider.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just loved that perspective on not being tied to one specific job or company or thing, or this is who I am, this is what I do, I'm this person, or I'm always make money in this realm of the world, or I make content, or I do this, or I do that. Like whatever you want, fill in the blank is not my provider. Like God is. And I just was like,
I'll make you weep.
That'll preach, Katie. That'll preach. It was so good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're kind of processing this live right now.
I mean, if you're listening to this on Monday, it was literally a week ago.
Yeah.
And again, they might be back. Like, I'm not saying it's like donezo forever and we'll never get a vitamin C serum again. Like, Lord, let me manifest something right there.
By the terrarium.
Yeah. I'm going to put all my products in a terrarium with crystals and bring it back for you guys. Don't even worry about it. It's going to be awesome.
Oh man. Yeah. So I don't know why I had to tell the story. But if it was for you, maybe send me a DM. So I don't feel like a complete lunatic. Okay. So that being said, thank you for listening. If you're like feeling like, hey, I'd like to get, I don't want any handouts.
No.
I'm not looking for a single handout. Like the Lord will provide, but if you guys want to buy t-shirts, that always helps.
Yeah.
We just slashed a ton of stuff on Sunny Morrow because our first collection was a little too big.
We just over-ordered.
Yeah, we over-ordered, so we have like too much inventory. So that's like literal cash just sitting there on shelves.
Yeah.
So we like cut to things down basically to cost.
Mm-hmm.
So you can buy a sweater or something like that.
Yeah.
We figured out the cadence now of what it looks like. So you can buy Tiny Rhythms. That's a huge help.
Yeah.
That launched May 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to support, those are great ways to do it.
Yeah.
Buying from the 3 brands that we run and operate.
The courses are still half off.
Courses are still half off. We're going to keep that
code
start today.
Yep.
So if you've been on the fence about a course, we're going to leave that discount going as just like another way. And the courses are great. Like specifically Homejoy seems to be blowing rhythms out of the water. If the reviews tell us anything, I think they're both great.
But I've also only asked for Homejoy reviews. I haven't asked. I asked for one Rhythms Made Simple review and it was so kind. It made me cry.
Yeah. I would say, and what I tell people is like Rhythm Made Simple is like the foundation of like the type of house you want to build. Yeah. And then Homejoy is like, let's nail in
let's get real specific about
how I build this specific part.
Right.
So that way, and this is the most random one. So, but I'm gonna share it. I don't know. So my younger brother, Uncle Michael, is
Michael.
He sells and installs. No, he doesn't install, but he works for a solar company in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And right now, he's really good at it.
Yeah.
He's a great salesman.
He is.
But like right now, so like 10 years ago in Hawaii, this is what we've heard, like solar was basically free to get installed into your house.
Yeah.
There are all these government incentives.
They wanted it set up. Yeah.
And then it reduced your electric bill. So but now like if you want to get solar in Hawaii, you have to like basically pay for all your panels, buy a battery. It's super expensive.
Yeah.
What seems to be happening right now in Pennsylvania is like a decade ago in Hawaii.
Yeah,
so
they're
like,
just behind.
it's basically free from what Michael tells me. It saves money on your electric bill.
My parents got it done.
Yeah, your parents got it done. My parents got it done. It's a great deal, and we would get a referral bonus from you using Michael. Uncle Michael.
Just Google Uncle Michael. He'll come right up.
So if that weird,
it's so random, but yes,
random avenue, like we would get a referral bonus, which again, we're just doing all that we can right now.
Yeah.
That would like message me, TJ Macedas on Instagram. I'll put it like in the show notes.
Yeah.
And I'll like put you in touch with Michael. I'll figure out, I think I'll just give you his phone number. I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
But that's super, super random. But hey,
my parents got it installed for free.
Yeah.
And now they have solar on their house.
Yeah. And it saves money on their electric bill.
Right.
And we got a referral bonus from them.
It's crazy.
So random.
That is so random. But you never know. We do know a lot of people in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. And he basically works the whole state of Pennsylvania outside of Pittsburgh. He doesn't do Pittsburgh. So if you live in Pittsburgh,
sorry,
can't help you. But if you live anywhere else in PA, I can help you. Yeah. Or Uncle Michael can help you.
Please call him Uncle Michael
just to think.
When he shows up at your house.
So,
hey, Uncle Michael.
Let me finish with an Uncle Michael story. My brother Michael is adopted from Russia.
Is that where Moscow is?
Yeah.
But he's not from there.
He was about as rebellious of a little kid as you could get. So on the first day of third grade, when he
was probably third. That sounds right. Which is June's age.
He kissed every girl on the playground. So just
gotta like get your. It's like when the like two male animals have to like dance off. Right.
But he also like was void of color in his life in Russia, that he wore this bright pink windbreaker everywhere he went when he first moved here. Yeah. So that's just like a little base layer of Uncle Michael.
So funny because he's so not.
No.
Like that's not his energy.
No. He's like
bonkers chill.
Super fun, chill.
So lighthearted. Always laughing.
Yes, always laughing anyways. So we were driving home from church one day, and
I think you've told this.
1985 Volkswagen Vanagon called Cirilla that my dad still owns to this day. Michael wanted to sit in the back, and like the Vanagon, the engine is in the back, so the back is flat. Like there's like this flat piece of metal that sits over the engine. Like it's not hot or anything. Yeah. Like it's just like and then the front of the van is super flat.
Yeah.
So we take this.
It's like a trunk.
We take this turn
scenario,
and all of a sudden Stephanie yells, Michael fell out of the back of the car. So like, I guess on this turn, my dad doesn't drive fast. He's actually an incredibly slow driver. Michael rolled out of the back, literally rolled out. The
door opened and he just like
rolled
went out
onto the street. And, and so like, all I can picture is what's going on in his brain. Like this was early adoption. So this kid is from Russia, barely speaks English, barely speaks Russian now. And he rolls out of the back of a car, and the car keeps driving. And all I can think is that in his head, he's like, this is it. This is where they're going to leave me. Michael fell out of the back of the car. So we all turn, and he must not have even spent a single second on the ground. No. And must have bounced up and just started running. Because by the time all of us turn, all we see is him running
sprinting
full
after the van.
Speed after the van. My dad stops. He climbs through the back where he fell out, climbs over the seat, jumps in a seat, and puts a seatbelt on, and that, like without saying a word.
Right.
And so
that's so good.
If you need solar, he's your guy.
He runs so fast.
Yeah. So that's all we have for today. I know it was kind of an unusual episode, but
it's where we're at.
It's where we're at. So thank you for listening. Thank you for making us a part of your week.
Okay, I love you. Bye.